Crafting a memorable single-player experience isn't easy. It's tough enough to create a fun gameplay loop that will keep players busy for however long they want. Adding characters, a unique aesthetic with sharp visuals, an exceptional soundtrack, and a compelling story to tie it all together can seem impossible. Yet these 30 games did just that, while cementing their names in history. Check out our picks for 30 of the best single-player games of all time. Inside. Combining atmospheric storytelling with clever puzzles, a stark aesthetic, and impeccable pacing, Playdead's Inside presented one of the best side-scrolling adventure titles of all time. It's saying something when a title of this caliber launched more than 8 years ago and nothing else in the genre has come close to matching up. Shadow of the Colossus Remake. The original Shadow of the Colossus is already an unorthodox take on the boss rush genre, offering an incredible world and uniquely designed colossi for players to overcome. Bluepoint Games' remake takes everything, especially the visuals, and makes it better, presenting the experience in its most polished state yet. Doom 2016. For all the projects we've seen over the decades which have gone through development hell, 2016's Doom doesn't so much as escape as slay it outright. It's a potent follow-up, an ambitious reimagining of the series' core formula, and a darn good first-person shooter that piles on the action while rarely letting up. Metal Gear Solid. The Metal Gear series pioneered the formula. Metal Gear Solid polished and elevated it into the art known as tactical espionage action. Immaculate level design accompanied tout gameplay mechanics while setting new standards for storytelling and presentation that channeled the very best and cheesiest of cinema. Simply put, Metal Gear Solid changed the stealth genre as we know it. Resident Evil 2002. All this talk of 2019's Resident Evil 2 and how it influenced remakes for years to come, which it did, make no mistake, but what about 2002's Resident Evil? It was the first remake in the Resident Evil series and successfully overhauled the original's visuals for a stunning experience while enhancing the terrifying atmosphere. It was more than enough to make up for the middling controls and offer one of the best horror remakes decades before others. Yakuza Kiwami 2. Speaking of fantastic remakes, Yakuza Kiwami 2, based on the second game in the franchise, is fantastic. The Dragon engine offered excellent graphical fidelity, bringing the over-the-top battle between the Dragon of Dojima and the Dragon of Kansai to life. However, new plot points further polished the narrative, and you could even play as Majima in a new campaign. Dead Space Remake. If Motive Studio went ahead and remade the original Dead Space with its incredible visuals, it would be a success, but it went the extra mile to deliver so much more. Random threats and fake-outs that keep you on your toes. New rooms and puzzles, revamped zero-G movement that feels so much better than the original, and even new side quests all expand on the experience while staying true to the original. Hi-Fi Rush. An eclectic mix of hack and slash and rhythm games, Hi-Fi Rush is one of the more creatively energetic titles in years. The story of Chai, as he battles the bosses of Vandalay, is one rife with unique moves, team-up attacks, and killer combos, all playing out against some beautifully bombastic stages. All this and a rocking soundtrack with Nine Inch Nails, The Black Keys, and Prodigy just doesn't miss. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. To deliver such a grand globe-trotting adventure with excellent melee combat, immersive stages, and impressive set pieces isn't the biggest strength of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Instead, it's capturing the tone of the character masterfully played by Troy Baker in a way that we haven't seen since the original trilogy. Of course, offering a tightly paced story with incredible visuals and music doesn't hurt either. Silent Hill 2 Remake. If we said it once, we'll say it again. Even with everything going against it, Bloober Team delivered not just one of the best remakes of all time, but a terrifyingly compelling horror title. Silent Hill 2 is simply rife with things to praise, from its subtle changes and nods to long-running theories to its incredible combat and sharp visuals. Everything about it is simply top tier and stands alongside the classic. Super Mario Bros. Odyssey. The next big sequel in the Mario 3D franchise, Super Mario Bros. Odyssey, introduced a phenomenal new mechanic in Cappy and built numerous engaging worlds to exploit it in some of the most fun ways. Stop by for the fun story, stay for the post-game, and stay for Dark Side of the Moon to test your platforming skills. Or just run around, mopping up coins and buying outfits. Star Wars Jedi Survivor. As one of the best, if not the best Star Wars action titles of all time, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order presented a tough bar to clear. Jedi Survivor pretty much clears it in every way, offering a litany of new lightsaber styles, brand new challenges, larger worlds with activities like bounties and Jedi meditation chambers, and better performances. Its technical aspects still need some polishing, but it's a worthy follow-up. BioShock. The descent into the underwater city of Rapture, torn apart by conflicting factions and deception, presents a unique aesthetic and setting. The narrative itself warrants praise, especially for its characters and excellent twists, but BioShock's gameplay remains shockingly solid to this day, right down to the gunplay and exploration. Alan Wake 2. The lake is an ocean, and the ocean is seemingly infinite in Remedy's Alan Wake 2, encompassing a larger universe than any of us expected. The survival horror approach is spot on throughout as players ping-pong between Saga Anderson and Alan Wake in unraveling this dark mystery. Yet this is more than just a scary game. It's absurd, creatively rich, and thought-provoking in all the best ways. Cyberpunk 2077 plus Phantom Liberty. The ugly world of Night City, where dreams go to die, is captured faithfully in Cyberpunk 2077. The story of V and Johnny Silverhand is compelling, make no mistake, as is Phantom Liberty with its spy thriller premise, but Cyberpunk 2077 shines when you get out into the world, immersing yourself in the various gigs and activities, picking fights with gangs and cops alike, and establishing your legend with an endless array of tools and responsive combat. Astrobot. Winning Game of the Year at the Game Awards 2024, and rightfully so, Astrobot is a 3D platforming masterpiece. It doesn't overwhelm you with needless padding, packs in tons of variety with its abilities, bosses, and level layouts, and caters to all ages with its challenges. Those not keen to collect its 300+ bots can simply sit back and take in the gorgeous visuals and soundtrack, regardless of this being a year bereft of first-party PlayStation titles. Astrobot is simply a treat from start to finish. Neva. Nomada Studios' newest single-player adventure isn't a terribly long experience. It can be completed in a few hours, even if you pursue collectibles. However, it's proof positive that you don't need dozens of hours to tell a compelling story with tragedy and heroism, or thousands of lines to convey the bonds between characters. The art style is as timeless as Gris, presenting warm tones and cold contrasts as flawlessly as nightmarish environments. While some elements will stay with you longer than others, there's no denying that Neva is an emotional journey. Black Myth Wukong. Who would win? Dozens of powerful figures, each more threatening than the last, or one warrior monkey? Black Myth Wukong captures the adventure of Journey to the West, presenting a road rife with challenges and the larger theme of enlightenment. Even if you can't get into the story, the combat is more than worth the price of admission with various hard-hitting techniques and transformations to leverage. The art direction and soundtrack are also fantastic, resulting in an incredible action title full of content. Dragon Age Origins. Dragon Age Origins may utilize several familiar aspects like elves, dwarves, and humans living in a fantasy world. However, it explores some dark themes, including racism and slavery, and how they endure even during a potential world-ending conflict. With real-time and pause mechanics for combat, numerous classes, and incredible companions impacted by your decisions, Dragon Age Origins is an excellent game. God of War 2018. After the blowout hack-and-slash epic action-adventure of the original trilogy, Sony Santa Monica took a long hard look at the franchise and effectively started anew. Yes, the story follows up on Kratos, now a father and residing in Midgard, but everything evolved by leaps and bounds. The story, which forced Kratos to face his past and move forward, the combat, which opted for a more grounded personal approach, and the exploration, which felt more meaningful and organic, and more. Say what you will about its follow-up, but this was an instant classic.
Struck a nerve, did I? Who are you hiding? Slow and old. You should never have come to Midgard.
Half-Life Alyx. An innovative take on the Half-Life formula which seamlessly incorporates VR mechanics into its puzzle-solving and combat while delivering top-tier storytelling and excellently paced missions. That's Half-Life Alyx in a nutshell. The only real drawback, aside from yet another cliffhanger, is also its biggest strength, that it's available exclusively for VR devices, limiting its exposure to more players. No matter how you slice it, this is an essential experience for any Half-Life fan. Mass Effect Legendary Edition. When Mass Effect first launched, there was no question about BioWare's pedigree and if it could deliver on its epic sci-fi premise. None of us knew just how good it would be, annoying elevator rides and all. Mass Effect 2 leaned further into the third-person shooter action while presenting its most compelling tale yet, and Mass Effect 3 rounded it off with significant stakes and incredible missions. Suffice it to say that the Legendary Edition is worth playing for all three, plus most of the DLC, but it also heavily revamps Mass Effect 1, which is the cherry on top. In short, an essential experience. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. We're way past the point of Skyrim being a meme or even praising it for the incredible modding scene. Despite some aspects not aging well, there's no denying how incredible the overall package is. From the utterly massive world teeming with side quests and events to deep lore, Skyrim may have been eclipsed by subsequent open-world action RPGs over the years, but it's still one of Bethesda's finest games to date. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. At a time when Dark Souls, Dragon Age 2, and The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim garnered all the hype, The Witcher 3 made its mark. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt raised the bar for storytelling and quest design in an open-world action RPG. The sheer size and scale of the world, rife with discoveries, activities, and decisions that mattered, was simply awe-inspiring. The Witcher 3 is filled with quality through and through. Grand Theft Auto V. Over 205 million units were sold across 3 generations of platforms, an online mode that's pretty much a second life for most players, a memorable campaign with some of the most realistic settings on top of one of the best stories and casts yet. Grand Theft Auto V has no shortage of milestones and is arguably the standard for open-world cities in gaming. For all the hype and mystery surrounding Grand Theft Auto VI, one thing is for sure, it has a lot to live up to. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Does more equal better? Regardless of your answer, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth answers that with more of everything that you loved about Remake. More minigames, more party members, deeper build crafting with more combat mechanics, more places to explore with many more details and characters. There's so much to the experience, yet it captures the original's atmosphere in phenomenal ways, even as the plot ventures into exciting and confusing new directions.
Don't give up now, you guys!
The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Following up such an award-winning experience as Breath of the Wild sounds borderline impossible, yet The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom makes it look easy. The stakes are somehow higher than ever, the narrative is on a completely different level in terms of characters and quality, dungeons make a resounding resurgence, and they're fantastic in every way. And that's only scratching the surface. From exploring its gargantuan world to building fantastic machines, Tears of the Kingdom is an open-world masterpiece. Red Dead Redemption 2. Rockstar's other critically acclaimed multi-million selling open-world epic in the past decade, Red Dead Redemption 2 is still legendary. Between the stellar world design and realistic systems, from maintaining hygiene to building a reputation with people who react accordingly, it offers one of the best narratives in gaming with one of the best protagonists in Arthur Morgan. Exceptional attention to detail, stunning visuals, incredible performances. Long story short, if you haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2, there's no better time than now. Baldur's Gate 3. There was a sense I had while traversing the Nautiloid in a section that was eventually cut before launch. The sense that Baldur's Gate 3 would be one of the greatest experiences ever, and that I should savor it when it exits early access. Lo and behold, the story of you and your ragtag party venturing across Faerun from lush forests and massive gorges to shadowy lands and the city of Baldur's Gate itself would be one for the ages. Few role-playing games manage this level of choice and consequence, or excellent quest design that interweaves so masterfully with everything else. Even fewer do it while presenting an incredible narrative and compelling characters, or an engaging battle system with almost endless choices of class combinations and skills. Elden Ring plus Shadow of the Erdtree. The Lands Between, such as it is, guided the Tarnish, aka the players, back for one more task. As you arrive, suffering old roads and new, basking in Limgrave with all of its glory, the true scale of FromSoft's first open world is revealed. Powerful threats roamed out in the open, Spectral Steed helped to navigate these massive environments, and legacy dungeons channeled danger and bosses possessing great runes necessary to progress. Even if the developer's combat essentials are familiar, Elden Ring offers so much to uncover and such grandiose design that it keeps you coming back for more. Hey, Did you know that we at GamingBolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.